Well guys, we are back here with a new bike on the channel. Let's crack the beer and get into it. So this right here is a 1994 Yamaha PW50. I got this thing for a screaming deal. Picked it up for 200 bucks. Seller stated it ran this fall. However, it all of a sudden died and will not start up again. He actually bought this bike new in 94 for right around $1,000. He showed me the paperwork. So super cool story on this one. We do know there's a couple things going on with it. I mean, you can see the coil's a little busted right here. Carb's all gummed up. It is a Mikuni carb, so that's great to see. Still has the oil line on it and the tank on up here, so I believe the direct injection is still hooked up. This is actually the choke cable right now, so we're gonna need a new choke cable. Keeps a Gulf tee in here to flip from start to run to off, so we're gonna need to get a new switch, which I have both of those, so that should be no issue. Tires are in decent shape. I mean, not brand new, but definitely for this little bike in decent shape. Looks like plastics aren't horrible. Really, we're definitely gonna need a new seat, but we're probably gonna redo all that anyways. Main issues with the bike that are known, it's definitely aimed a little bit to the right, so we're gonna need to get that figured out. What's the issue there? The steering bar has play in it, so I don't know if that's the triple clamps or what's going on there. We're gonna have to look into that. And the front shock is locked up. It does not compress. That's all you get. So we're gonna need to look into that. The rear shock works good. First couple things we're gonna check out are spark, compression, and fuel, and we'll go from there. All right, so first thing we're gonna do here is pull off our spark plug boot. Grab a 13/16. Threads feel really weird. Threads definitely don't feel good on that. Plug's definitely wet, as you can see. Yes, it's definitely getting gas to it. Definitely has some buildup on it. It's an old plug. We're running a Jin Chang E6 TC, so I mean, you can see it's got some rust on it. Very old plug, but let's see if we're getting spark. Set you guys up there, and we're gonna give her a couple kicks. Man, that's hard to tell. I'm gonna try putting this. All right, so I slapped a new plug in there, and if you look very closely, you can see we're getting spark now. Pretty good, consistent spark. All right, perfect. We can check that off the list. Next, we're gonna check compression. So just out of curiosity, I wanna see if the rings are locked up, or the ring, I should say, is locked up. We're gonna throw some two-stroke oil in there, and if we get a boost in our reading, then we know that the ring is stuck. Let's get this compression tester back in there. It takes a while. I'm gonna skip it. All right, so we got some two-stroke oil down the spark plug hole. We're gonna give her some kicks now. That spiked up to 140 pounds of compression. So we definitely have a little bit of a stuck ring. We're gonna hope and pray that as we run it, it gets a little bit better, but that's great news. All right, so we now know we got good spark and we got good compression. So all we got left to check is the carb here, which, as I said, is an OEM Mikuni, which is great. Let's try and get this homemade air filter situation figured out. It is cracked up in here and not right, as you can see, but hey, at least there isn't the OEM box on here. I'll count that a win for now. Not spinning on me on the back. Alright, that should be loose. I believe there's a screw in here. Let's check. Yep. Gotta grab a longer screwdriver. Actually, no, I gotta take off this one down here. Because if you take off this one in the back of the airbox, that just pulls the airbox apart. Right, so we got that out. It's so hard to work with gloves on, but it's minus 25 is what it feels like out here in Minnesota right now. So you don't got much of an option. Try to save this. Man, this is brittle. And you can sneak the airbox out the back here. As always, put your hardware right back in where you pulled it out from. See if we can wiggle this now. Pull the throttle cable and choke top off real quick. Check and see if, yep, our choke or our throttle cable slide was in the correct way. Oh, we need to get turn our fuel off. Let's get our fuel line off quick here. Definitely gonna spill some gas here. Wow, that fuel line is brittle. And obviously there isn't gonna be much because it's only like 5 inches of fuel line. Now we gotta try and get the oil line off. Same type of thing, it's this one right up front here. You gotta be careful because you don't want to take the little metal grommet insert from the carb with it if possible. Probably gonna bypass the oil pump anyways, but well, see, we pulled the metal grommet out, so we'll have to reinstall that shortly. But let's just get the carb pulled off of here. You gotta loosen this screw and then you can kind of slide it off the intake. All right, and we got our carb off. Let's get to cleaning it. All right, well, we have lost our propane, so we're gonna make quick work of this. Drain our gas out the top on a little paper towel. Looks decent, not. Got another paper towel. Zap the bottom 4 screws on the man, is it cold. All right, we got our 4 screws off. Give it a. What do we got? Oh, not too dirty. I'll show you guys. That's what the bottom of our bowl looks like. So you got a couple chunks in there. And here's what we're working with. You can tell somebody's played with the main jet before. Let's pop that off quick. Let's see if our main jet was clogged. Our main jet is not fully clogged. Let's pull our pilot real quick. Pilot's going to be the little guy next to it, obviously. Not in there that tight. Let's check our pilot. Hopefully it's clogged. Partially clogged. You definitely can't see all the way through it, so that was probably part of our issue. Pop our float off here. This should be able to grab it. Got your little rod. Then you can pull the float right off. See your needle. Yeah, it feels nice and rubbery. Check your float. There's no gas in it, which is good. It means it's not leaking. All right. The rest of it in here looks pretty good. And as I said, it is your OEM Mikuni, which is great to see. Let's check that air fuel screw and see how many turns out that is. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, a little over 2 1/4. Pull that all the way out. All right, so you have this little guy, then you have a spring, which you can see right there. So that looks pretty good. We'll make sure that nothing else is clogged in there. And then we're going to clean this guy up. But that's the most of the carb clean. We're going to spray compressed air through all of the holes. And then we'll be good to give we're going to make sure that oil pump is working. We're going to dump the gas out of the bike, put premixed in it, and see if oil is coming out of that pump. Because obviously we don't want to blow it up by having no oil get to it. But let's make sure. These jets don't have the main jet does not have a size written on it, and neither does the pilot. Probably just gonna order some OEM jets, just for the $5 it costs. But yeah, catch you guys in the next part. All right, so we just cleaned out that carb with some compressed air and carb cleaner. Next thing we're gonna do, drain the gas tank. We want to get this gas out of here to then fill it up a little bit with premix and see if we can get the bike scooting. Then if it's scooting, if oil is coming out of this line right here, we know our oil pump is working. But so if it runs, then we should be good to go. If it doesn't run, something we can check is the reeds. However, on this bike, it is kind of common things get sucked in, but this one did have an air box with an air filter in it. So we're hoping there isn't stuff in the reeds and the reeds are good. But if we do have to pull the reeds, we will have to basically pull the motor out of the bike, or at least pull the muffler off and pull the gas tank off, because the reeds are all the way in here from this intake tube, as you can see. But let's go ahead and try and get this gas drained and spill the least amount possible. All right, guys, so we just got the carb back on there and we drained the gas. I cut it out, obviously, because that took forever. It was a little concerning how slow the gas was coming out of this line. So if the bike pops off and starts and runs for a little bit but won't stay running, that's definitely something we're going to look into. Is the petcock clogged? Are the fuel lines just brittle and clogged? We're definitely going to get new fuel lines anyways, because, man, is it hard to get them on and off without a heat gun. But just recapping here. We checked, put in a new plug, got good spark. We had good compression. We just cleaned our carb. So we got our 3 components there. We should be good to go. We're going to try and see if we can get this to pop off. We're going to add some mixed gas. This is our oil line. So once the bike is running, we're going to check and see if oil is coming out of there, and that will tell if our oil pump is good or not. All right, let's add some gas and see if we can get scooting. That should be plenty. As I said, mix 40-1 with Yamaha lube. We're not going to put our air filter on just for this quick test. We're just going to see if the bike will pop off. Turn our fuel petcock on. We have the air screw a turn and a half out. That's what the manual says. And as of now, this is our choke. So we're going to pull that. Who knows how that's really working right now, but we have a new one on the way. So we got her in the start position. Let's see what we got. All right, so we got nothing. Here's what I'm gonna assume from that. Our carb is cleaned, we have good compression, and we have good spark. I'm gonna next check the reeds, because that's a pretty common thing that could be happening here. Cracked reed, broken reeds, no reeds, who knows? Next, other thing than that we can check is the kickstart mechanism. I mean, it could just be the inability to kick it. I mean, it's only engaging at the very bottom. Like, you're only getting one puff at the bottom, so that could be a problem here. But all right, I guess we're on to the next one. All right, so we are back here. As you can see, the bike looks in much different condition than it was last time. Basically spent the last hour ripping everything apart, getting ready to take the motor and rear tire out of the frame because you could not get it to pop over. Once we cleaned the carb, it had good compression and had spark. So that means one of two things. The reeds were bad, so I ordered some new reeds. Our Kickstarter, we're gonna replace the shaft, obviously, but you gotta get the motor out of the frame to do that. So just kind of want to go over everything I did. Obviously took the gas tank off. I unhooked the oil line, and I actually threw that away because we're just gonna leave this here, not hook it up, run premix. Next, I unhooked the shocks so that we can pull that out. Obviously, you could say I undid all the wiring. It's pretty straightforward. I actually had all my clamps break, so I bought new ones, but these 4 go with these 4, and it's all color-coded. And then, or I should say, these 4 up top here go with these 4, and then there's 3 here, and and there's 3 here, so those go together. This is your ground. This goes up to your CDI. Pretty straightforward in these bikes. You can also find the manual everywhere online. Then I took off the handlebar because it was broken and we needed a new one, so I unhooked that here. I did notice our handlebar has too much play, so we're going to rip this off and take a look at that. Also, our shocks are no good, so we're going to have to look into that. But get you guys set up here. We're going to rip the frame out, or the motor and rear tire out of the frame. All right, and just like that, we got our frame and motor disconnected. Just kind of wanted to show you guys what we're working with. I did spill some oil. It kind of looks like a Smurf massacre. But so this is our motor. This is our reeds, our intake. We're going to take a look in there. And that's our frame. We can kind of leave that aside. All right, let's look at these. Something I forgot to mention that I did do was block this intake off, clean this up really good, because obviously once we pop off these reeds, any debris is going to go right into it. These 4 bolts on the intake to the reeds are extremely stubborn. They're actually, Phillips number 3 is pretty similar to them. I believe they are JIS bolts, so you want to get a impact screwdriver is going to be your best bet, and you do not want to strip these. See, they come out nice and easy with the impact screwdriver. You can also hit this bad boy with a hammer if need be. That was a nice little win. These actually look like they've never been opened up before, so pretty high likelihood our reeds don't look good. But that's a pretty easy, cheap fix. All right, let's see what we're working with here. Oh, yeah. Our intake's pretty clean. Looks pretty good. I mean, it's dirty on the top, but okay, now we're going to use a little flathead screwdriver and pop off our plate. There's a little tab on the motor side that you can use a screwdriver on these bikes. Let's try and keep our gasket. I do got extras though if we need it, and they're real cheap on these bikes, which is nice. So obviously you can see our gasket is a little broken here, but our reeds are looking pretty good. They are flush, which is what we like to see. We would not want to see one lifted up like that. You can kind of see that would be a sign of wear and tear, but they're going up and down. So those check out. We now kind of get a glimpse into the bottom end. So there's our rod. You can kind of see the piston when it comes to the bottom of the cylinder. Oh. All right, well, as you can see, our reeds checked out. We're gonna clean up this surface now, drain our oil, and then we're really just waiting on our kickstart shaft, which isn't gonna come in for a couple days, but we're gonna make sure we fill this, like put a paper towel in there that's clean so that no debris can get in, and we're gonna keep cleaning. Yep, way easier. All right. I tip the bike back kind of so hopefully. Our oil is actually pretty clear. You can kind of see it there a little bit. I mean, if this thing was burning its gear oil and not the oil it was supposed to, you'd definitely be able to smell it. It would not smell good. It would not smell how a two-stroke should smell. But yeah, we're going to drain this. We'll zap our cover off, and then we're really just waiting on parts. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to clean up the motor and clean up the swing arm and clean up everything I can. PWs are fun little projects. They're really not that many pieces to the puzzle. So if you're getting into working on bikes like myself, it's a fun, low-risk project. Yeah, this bike calls for 300 milliliters. So it's just going to be 10W40 wet clutch oil is what I use for these bikes. All right, so we've spent about 2 hours cleaning this bike up in the motor, getting all the grease, grime, dirt, and junk off. We did install our reeds with the new reeds, just put the new gaskets on, pretty straightforward. We got a paper towel in there blocking the intake just so nothing can get in there in the time being. We're going to take off our clutch cover here and get that new kickstart on. As you know, we already drained our oil, so we can go ahead and start getting all of these screws off. All right, so you have this little cover, this piece, and then one bolt on the bottom. We'll try and keep that all organized. Got a little tab up here. Just popped right off. Gasket's catching somewhere. Try and keep the gasket as nice as we can. All right, so we have our clutch cover off. I don't see any metal chunks in there, so that's good. I'm going to show you guys what the inside of the case looks like right now. All right, so this is the inside of our case. This is going to be our kickstart mechanism, our centrifugal clutch. I mean, I'm not seeing any chunks or anything yet, which is really good. The oil actually looks pretty good in here. We're going to take off this circlip right here and get this clutch off. All right, so we got a little part straight for our clutch parts. Let's get this circlip off. I really need to invest in a nice circlip tool. All right, we got our circlip off. Can pull our clutch off. Looks pretty decent. We're just gonna grab a rag for that. I'm gonna show you, this is a little rustier than I'd like to see. See, our gears look good. This should be able to slide right off. Oh, okay. So we have that. And then this, oh, shoot. Let me grab a little pick quick. All right, so this is that washer that fell in there. Trying to figure out how I can get this thing out quick. Be back with you in a second when I get this out. All right, so next we're gonna pull this circlip off, and then we can get this wheel off, and then we're gonna pop this spring off to pull this off. And I'm guessing the weld on this is gonna be broken or teeth are shredded, but let's get to it here and start pulling it apart. Grabbing that circlip right now. All right, we got our circlip off, and our spring assembly actually just came off by itself, which is quite interesting. We're gonna pull this gear off now. This thing actually looks fine. All right, now let's try and figure out what broke. I did pull our kickstart shaft, or our kickstart kicker off already. So this looks good to me. The weld isn't broken and the teeth, as you can see, look good. All right, let's keep pulling things apart and see what broke. We got this gear. I'm gonna inspect this a bit. Our teeth look good. Not sure what failed on this piece. Our crank is spinning, so that's good. All right, well, I'm not exactly sure what failed, I guess. All right, so we're gonna run the stock sprocket here with this loop on it just because I don't see any imperfections with this, and I'd rather use Yamaha's than a Amazon one on this part. So gonna slide that on. Then our kickstart goes in next, which, as you can see, it lines up there and it's grabbing, which is perfect. Okay, next we have, gotta look, make sure I'm not forgetting the washer here. All right, so I think I found our issue on why it was not grabbing. The one on the left is the original one. You can see the teeth are kind of rounded off there on the top, versus this one has good teeth. So definitely gonna run the new one for this. So as you know, we have our first gear on. This has to be in between the channels here. We slid our kickstart shaft on and it is engaging. So next we'll throw this guy on. Might need two hands. All right, so kind of in a pickle here. It looks like the middle bore diameter of the new one is slightly smaller than the old one, like by the 1,000th, but I don't want to run the old one because this is the part that was broken. So we're going to try and file out the inside of this just barely to get it to slide on because I don't want to have to hit it on. That just doesn't seem right. All right, so here's what we came up with. We used the new small piece, new small gear that goes on the front with the little clip that goes down into here. We grinded out the middle of this sprocket and put this one on. We went for the new spring, the old plastic. The new one just looked pretty crappy, so I didn't go with it. And we used the new shaft. I did just try it out. It works good. I'm going to put a little bit of gasket maker around the case, throw the case back on. I'll show you guys it works. The bike actually has a ton of compression, which is awesome. But I'll show you it here in action in a little bit. All right, we got some gasket maker all around the case, all these bolts locked up. I'm just going to show you the kickstart now in action with my hand. Obviously, it's engaging every time. Almost a little concerning how much compression is on here, so I'm going to just check out the top end. But next is going to be rear brakes. We're just going to change out the pads, so we'll show you how to do that. All right, guys, so we're here at the back brake. How this is going to go, your cable goes through here. Obviously, we have it all ripped apart. But as this is your brake over, so as you squeeze this, it pulls it inward, expanding the brake drums out. So you can see when I move this lever, this little piece moves. So that's flat right there. That's no brakes engaged. Then as you squeeze the brake, it pushes this up, pushing the brake drums out. So we're gonna replace these real quick. I pinched my fingers doing this too many times, so I just like to wear little gloves. Also, these parts are super cheap, so whenever you're working on a PW, it's a no-brainer. All right, let's get these old ones off of here. So you can pop it off this far. Sorry, you can't really see too well, but pop it off one side, and then it can kind of just come apart, hopefully. Yep. All right, so it came right apart. So really all you guys, your 2 shoes and 1 spring, and then as you can see, it goes on there like that to make your circle. Let's open up our new ones. They just come in a nice little box like this. I'll show you the difference in the old ones versus the new ones to see why this guy needed some new brakes. So obviously you just get your 2 shoes, 1 wire. I'll kind of mock it up here, how it looks. All right, so here's your old one. You can see the black part is what you're looking at. This one's way thicker, obviously, because it's brand new, and this one's way more wore down. It's the old one. All right, let's get this chucked on here. The wire is going to go facing inward. You can kind of get it mocked up on one side, and then try your best not to break your fingers. It kind of sucks, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Wow, that one, so you can see it's not fully locked in there yet. We're gonna, all right, and you'll hear it click in. So that went really well. We got them clicked in, and as you can see, as you squeeze the brake, it pushes them out, and that's your rear brakes done. We are going to lube it up just a little bit because it's a little harder to squeeze, and that should spring back. But that's your rear brakes. Did want to mention front brakes is the exact same. I'm probably not going to video it just because you already saw me do it. All right, guys. So we just finished up the rear brakes. Got the swing arm on and the rear tire on. I did just pull off the magneto or stator side cover. Make sure our what's it called, the Woodruff key was good. Everything looked good there. I mean, really simple. Unscrew the thing, use a flywheel puller, pop the flywheel off. It's your Woodruff key, look in good shape, then move on. Last thing we're going to do here really with the motor side is just check out this top end. I do notice the head studs are pretty rusty, so we're just going to kind of take a little look, see what it looks like. We've got to drop the spark plug first, obviously. And this was the new plug I put in. That we know we had spark with, and we know we do have good compression, but like since we're doing all this work, we might as well just make sure there's nothing crazy going on. You do got to be careful. You don't want to pull the head studs out when you do this. So I did throw some not WD-40, PB Blaster on there. Yeah, perfect. So we are not pulling the head stud out, which is awesome. I'm going to go in a cross thread pattern and really just try and loosen these in the easiest manner possible. All right. Oh, wow. Look at the inside of our head there. That thing looks nasty. Just, I mean, it does smell like gas. We do have a head gasket on here, so that's a good start. Let's kick our piston up to the top and see what she looks like. I don't know how well you guys can see, but it looks pretty dang good. I'll show you guys a little better here. So it looks pretty good. I mean, you can see a little bit of the heat got there and there. We're going to drop the cylinder and just check it out even more. So pretty much we should be able to just pop our cylinder off now. There's no more bolts holding it on, but it's the gasket's going to be holding this up here. Again, this would be a great time for a mallet, but as I mentioned, our mallet is not to be found. So we're just going to Here's what another thing you can do: get the piston to the bottom and just feel in the cylinder. Do you feel any? Does your nail catch on anything? And get it all the way to the bottom. Cylinder feels and looks great. I can actually still see the cross hatchings in there, and like I said, I'm running my finger around. It's not catching on anything. We're gonna go ahead and call that good. So we're gonna get this. All right, guys, so we are back here. We have our new shocks on. We also put our new brake cables on. Pretty straightforward. You feed the line through here, put the spring on, put the little dowel, and then thread your nut until it's tight. That's adjusted to how you like. And like I said, we did the same to the front. We filled the bike up with the gear oil. We just put the old tank on here. Theoretically, it should start. We have spark, we have good compression, we have cleaned our carb. We know that we're getting enough gas through the line to fill the bowl. I just have the oil fill temporarily covered up for now. We'll seal that up good, but it should run now. So we're gonna set you guys up and I guess see what happens. Forgot to mention, we also do have a working choke installed now, so we're gonna pull that. Our gas line is on and our Kickstarter works now, so let's see what happens. Oh, I forgot to put on the exhaust. Guess we need that part. All right, we got our pipe on now. We don't have the silencer on, but that should be more than enough back pressure to get her fired up. As I said, we got our choke pulled. Fuel petcock on. Let's see what you can do. 2 kicks. Oh, I hit the wrong button there. She's alive. All right, guys, now that we verified the bike can run and runs good, we are actually going to take the old tank off, and we got some sweet new plastics and seat for it. Then we have a graphics kit too. So I'm going to drain the gas, take the gas tank off. I'll show you once all the plastics are on, and then I'll show you how I put some of the graphics on. I won't bore you guys forever, and this project will be done, but let's get the plastics on. All right, guys, I've started the graphics clearly. I figured I'd show you how I do a little bit of the graphics. So I'm grabbing the side number plate now, and I'll show you how I slap one of these on. I am by no means an expert at this, but so here's our graphic. Soapy water. I just go to the sink, fill it up like 80% of the way with water, a couple squirts of soap. This is your best friend. This allows you unlimited attempts, essentially, at getting this graphic right. So you can feel free to get it all wet and soapy, and then that just gives you lots of chances. So you can kind of line this up here, and you're not, I mean, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm trying to do my best. You can kind of base it off the plastics where it's supposed to go. The other thing, like, I have Amazon plastics on here, so it's not gonna be perfect. Like, I'm going for pretty good is what I'm going for on graphics. And like, you could see how it doesn't even line up with the panel straight. You kind of have to use the heat to make it look good and not leave marks. But so I got it kind of how I want here. I'm going to bend this top in. I have to bend that a little bit. But really, your heat gun does all this work for you. So I just turn the heat gun on low, keep it pretty far back, start in the middle, start pushing that water and soap out. And just starting from the middle allows you to adjust. And if you need to pull it off and restart, that is fine too. So you can kind of see it's starting to get stuck on there. I'm pushing those body lines to get the water out. pretty happy with how the graphics are looking on the black plastics. I am definitely going to have to paint the wheels though. Can't have blue wheels with a black and red themed bike. That does not match. So the heat kind of just trains the plastic where to go. I'm out of cord on my heat gun, so I'm just cranking it up to give me a little bit of power for that, but I don't normally recommend turning the heat above the low setting. It's working on curling that top edge up to get no creases in it, and the heat's helping me out a bit. And there's always going to be water hidden on the back that you got to work out with your fingers in the heat. So just when you think you're done, do it 5 more times, kind of. Because you don't want that water staying behind there. Another thing about the plastics is this is not a good thing to do. In a cold garage, you want this to be a pretty warm environment so that the plastic mates to it, or the sticker mates to the plastic good. But so this one's just about done. I will definitely add some pictures into the end of the bike, but I'm going to keep doing the plastics and I'll show you guys when I'm done.